Hi, welcome. Simon here, and I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be showing you on how to do a step-by-step on how to replace a MacBook Pro keyboard. This is a full assembly keyboard, meaning that it comes with the battery, the touchpad, and the keyboard itself with the palm rest. So try to find, even if it's a used one, try to find the one that comes the full assembly like this versus just the keyboard itself. You do not want to just replace the keyboard because I'm pretty sure you'll run into a trouble. So just get a used one if you can find one, or I'll link them in the description below. You can go check it out. And I got this one from eBay, and the seller sold me the entire full assembly with the I/O board on the side, the speaker, the left and the right, a used battery, and this entire keyboard is used, and also with the charging port here. So some of you may not comes with the charging port, but it's an optional. It's very easy, just the 2 screws, remove it, and you can transfer your original charging port from the your original MacBook into this used keyboard. All right, so anyway, the model of this is the A1502. If you flip and take a look at the back of your laptop, you can see this says A1502. And this is the MacBook Pro 13-inch. So let's begin. First, you need to have a Pentalope screwdriver. Let's go ahead and remove the back cover. If you're not sure where to find the tools, I'll link them in the description below. And I'll be using the same tools that I listed in the description. Sometimes I'm not sure, maybe you're watching this like years down the road, the tools might not be available anymore, but you get the idea what type of screwdriver you need in order for this repair. So this is the Pentalope screwdriver. All the screws are the same except the 2 screws on the top in the middle. Once you remove all the screws, go ahead and pry open the back cover. All right, and you just put the back cover on the side. So this is the entire laptop, how it looks like internally. So the first thing I like to do is to disconnect the battery. This is a little tape that cover up the connector. So the connector is pretty straightforward. I'm using my 2 fingernail and lift it straight up. All right, so they're kind of like a Lego. Is snap on, meaning if you push it in, it snap it back in. To install, to remove, you just lift it straight up, and that's how you remove the battery. Now once the battery is disconnected, again, the whole goal is to transfer the CPU fan, the motherboard, and the screen over to that used keyboard that I showed you earlier. So meaning that this keyboard here is not working, and I'm getting all these funny keys are typing by itself because I think there were liquid spill on it, but the rest of other stuff is fine. So we're just transferring everything over. Now the next step I like to do is to get the T5 screwdriver and remove the you know what, let's remove the hard drive. I wanted to make sure that during the process, you never know, we do not want to destroy any of the data, right? All the information, everything is stored in this hard drive. So remove that 1 screw, which is the T5, and then slide the hard drive to your left. That's how you remove it. Now let's go ahead and start remove some of the screws. I'll go ahead and start removing the cable first. T5 again, remove the bracket and pop it straight up. That's how the cable is, just like Lego, snap in and you pop it straight up. That's how you remove it. Pop it straight up. The entire cable just got removed. All right, let's move on to the next. There's 1 screw right here. You can reinstall the rubber mat later for the fan. There are 3 screws holding onto the CPU fan. There's one here on the top left, bottom middle, and the right. This is the LCD cable. Let's go ahead and disconnect the cable. So it's kind of taped onto it. What you want to do is you want to slide the cable away from your body, slide it to that direction, and then gently remove that cable right there. And there are 3 Wi-Fi cable with the Bluetooth, and do not damage the connector here. The easiest way to do is just lift it up, lift it straight up. That's how you disconnect the Wi-Fi antenna, and just put it on the side here. We're going to remove the LCD later on. This one is the connector that connects to the USB and the HDMI. There's no safety clip or anything. You just want to slide and to your left to remove it. So just be careful, do not pull too hard. I do not want you to break the cable, but I just want you to disconnect the connector. Now if you're having some problem to remove it, I suggest you to push one side and then push the other side at the same time, push and pull. Okay, this is your speaker. Just lift it straight up, and that's how you disconnect that. This is the touchpad. Just lift the thing straight up. That's how you disconnect that. There's a little tape right here, so go ahead and peel the tape off. You don't have to do it all the way, just enough to expose the connector. Flip the secure pin connector at 90-degree angle, flip it straight up, and then slide that cable down towards your body. This is your keyboard. Okay, slide it down. That's how you disconnect it. This is again your speaker here. You can lift it straight up. And there's a little tiny cable right here. Again, there's a little tape that is hiding the clipper. Expose that tape. You see that clipper? Flip it open and slide that cable towards your body, down towards your body. That's how you disconnect this cable. This is the charging port power cable. Go ahead and disconnect by pulling to your right, that direction. That's how you disconnect that. And this is your LCD screen. There's a safety pin right here. Flip it straight up and then slide the cable to your right. That's how you disconnect that. And pretty much one last cable right here. Lift it straight up. Alright, so pretty much we have disconnected all the cables. And last but not least is the CPU fan. There's a safety pin clipper right here. Flip it up at 90-degree and push that cable away from your body. That's how we're going to disconnect the CPU fan. And there you have it. Now the next step is to remove the 2 rubber spots. This rubber is hiding the screws on the LCD, and this rubber here, this screw right here is running on a T8. So this is a T8 screwdriver. Once you remove the 3 screws on each side of it, there's another one little important thing. This little clipper runs on a T5. Remove that 1 screw and pull this little secure metal piece right here. Put it on the side. make sure you're not mix matching them. Left goes to the left, right goes to the right. Okay, now the screen is ready to be removed. So what I do is I'm separating the base and the LCD screen. As I'm opening it up, you keep opening up the screen, kind of go more than 90-degree angle, and once you go in further enough, you can see like the screen will start separating by itself. All right, I know that my screen is dirty here, but yeah, that's how you're gonna remove the screen. So we're gonna reuse the same screen, and then we're gonna move it over to that used keyboard that I showed you earlier. So if you're still following my video so far, and please go ahead, pause the video and click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I'll try to give you a lot more content about how to do the repair on any laptops or any computers. All right, back to the replacement here. I'm using a T5 again. Let's go ahead and start removing all the screws on the motherboard. We are right about halfway there. There are 5 screws on the motherboard. Once you remove all the 5 screws, we are ready to separate them. All right, so I lift it up a little, and I'm gonna pull the, I'm gonna go underneath and the CPU fan on the side, right? Now we are going to separate the motherboard. Let's pull it slightly to your left. You lift it up at 45-degree angle and slightly move it to your left. All right, so this is the entire motherboard. If you want to do a motherboard replacement, this video helps you as well. Now here we have the broken keyboard, right? My original broken keyboard. So the next step I like to do is to bring over the used keyboard that I bought earlier. So let's go ahead and swap it. And we want to do the reverse process. So transfer back your motherboard. Again, I like to tilt it at 45-degree angle. Make sure that this little cable here is exposed to the top of the motherboard and slide it in. And make sure all other cables is above the motherboard, not underneath the motherboard. You may need to find like 2-3 times, because when you get one cable that goes exposed on the top, the other cable go back to the bottom. So you may have to keep finding, make sure all the cables are sitting on the top, and you can feel like the motherboard should be sitting flat by itself. You don't have to put any pressure. You just feel like the motherboard sit flat to the keyboard, right? So this is, I'm feeling it just right. And I do not forget about the CPU fan. This thing has to tuck underneath the heatsink, so lift it slightly up, tuck it back in, and cables expose. All right, and the CPU fan sit right there. Just feels right about that. All right, so the next step I like to do is slightly not slightly, let's try to put the screw back onto the motherboard. So there's one here, one right here. Top left. Bottom left. And then bottom right. Okay. So I would like to install my screen back together. Make sure your screen hinge are open up to more than 90-degree angle. The further the better. Once it's tilt all the way to the back, what you want to do is you want to make sure the cables are above the keyboard, and then slide it in that hinge. You want to install the hinge, right? You want to tuck it underneath like that. And then same goes for the other side. Make sure the cable is exposed. So bring that pin connector back up, slide a hinge. Now the screen is free to install. You can see that it's wobbly. So what I like to do is I like to put one screw in first so that I can close it. Get your T8. Get your T8, put that one screw in. Get your T8 again, put that one screw in there. All right, now I can close the screen. Perfect. So come back, make sure it's securely fastened. Finish up the rest of the screws. If you have any question regarding about your repair, feel free to comment below, and I'll read your comment and I'll try to answer any questions that you have. Also, if you have a different computer, something related to the repair, just comment below and I'll read those comments and I'll get back to you. And yeah, I'd like to and also, if you can do me a favor, please let me know if you were able to follow along the video about the repair. If you have the same problem like I do, the keyboard is all messed up, and if you found this video and you were able to follow along with the repair, comment below. I'd like to hear from you. All right, so do not forget this little secure thing here, the metal piece. Again, the left goes back to the left and right goes back to the right. So you get the T5 and put that screw back on. This is on the right side of this. Put it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and install this cable. As I'm working along with the screen now, I'm just going to slide it back to your left. So slide it back in. Take your time, don't rush it, because I do not want you to break the cable or the pin. And if you break it, then yikes, you would have to replace the entire screen. All right, so kind of gently pull it back in. You want to push it all the way in and then get the clipper to clip it back on to secure that connector. Now this is the power cable, right, for the charging, slide it back to your left. That's how you install it. So we're kind of done on this side here. A little bit, not all the way. So make sure the clipper is open on this bottom right and slide that cable in and make sure that the white line is not exposed. So push it in, push it, push it, push it, push it, and then press the clipper down, push it back down to secure that connector. Here's your speaker, push it back in. Do not connect the battery yet. This is the keyboard. I know it's kind of very difficult, but try to be even and push it all the way back to yourself and let the keyboard slide it in on its own. All right. So once you feel like it's in, I like to give it a little pushy. Push it in, tuck it all the way in, and then press the clipper down to secure that keyboard and kind of put the tape to cover back up. This is your touchpad. Easy peasy. Just push it back in. That's how you install that. This is your little speaker. Connect it back just by pressing back down. And this one here, you want to slide it in to your right. Before I do that, let me go ahead and install this. So this CPU fan here, you see the little white line. You want to make sure that the white line is pushed all the way back in to the connector and it's not exposed. Once the white line is in that connector, press the clipper to secure the CPU fan. And this little wire connector, push it to your right. You're done with that install. Now, before I continue, I like to quickly secure my CPU fan. Make sure it's not running around. So put the 3 screws, one on the right, one in the center, and one goes to the left side of it. It's good. Now here comes the Wi-Fi antenna, right? The connector. Just take your time. You want to align them in the right position. It doesn't take a very much of the pressure to push it back in. So if you feel like it's not going in, do not force it in. You do not want to bend the connector. And if you bend the connector or if you damage the connector, I'm sorry, you do not have Wi-Fi. Plus, if you want to change it, you would have to change the entire screen. Just so you know, because the Wi-Fi is built in with the screen, and if you damage the connector, you would have to change the entire screen. That is the worst situation, right? But let's just say if it happens to you, you know, by any bad luck, whatever reason, just push the cable back in, push it down. Well, just happened to you for whatever reason, you know. Anyway, I do not wish that happened to you or anyone. But if it does happen to you, then it's not the end of the world. You still have other options. What you can do is you can buy a USB adapter, the Wi-Fi USB adapter, and slide it into the USB port. So instead of using the internal Wi-Fi, you can use the external USB. All right, move on. This is the rubber thing. Just snap it back in. Very straightforward. Hey, if you're still following along so far, congratulations. We are almost done. I would say like 80% is done already. All right, so this is the hard drive, all the information. Slide it in, push it all the way, and then you can see that it aligns with the bracket here, so that we can put the screw back in using a T5. All right, pretty good. Put this little rubber, cover that screen. All right, I think we are done on this part. Do not forget your little cable here, the connector that connects all the data coming from here into your motherboard. Press it down, put the bracket back in, T5, 2 screws, bracket in, T5, 2 screws. Alright, so we're pretty much done, and connect the battery back in by pushing it back to the connector. And now we can go ahead and put the back cover back in, press it down a little bit, and get the Pentalope screwdriver and start putting the screw all back together. Now if you follow along the video, and if you find this video is helpful, please do not forget to click the like and subscribe. I really appreciate you for taking that moment to do that. That helps me to motivate myself to make more of this sort of repair video for you. And yeah, if you have any question about your repair, feel free to comment below. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions that you have. And also check out my other videos. I have Windows repair, I have MacBook repair, iPad, iPhones. I'm starting to do a lot of network right now to get you know, to get more education or the tutorial out to the public, how to do the networking and whatnot. So subscribe and comment below if you have any questions, and or anything related to the IT, and I'm more than happy to help. All right, until next time, please take care. Bye now.